Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, all over the world. Dobson777a here. Well, we had kind of an interesting week. I was just looking at some of the numbers here. It looks like gold has settled in about 1942. Silver has settled in at 26.815. Let's go ahead and look at platinum real quick. Platinum is at 916. So this is almost looking like a bull flag. Each one of them are kind of coming down a little bit, and they're going to start coming back up. I expect once we start seeing some stimulus happen. You can see they're still fooling around with the stimulus. So I think it's going to be a while before they kind of work that out. They all got to figure out who they got to buy off so they can get this through. Have I seen the gold backs? No, I don't know what you mean by the gold backs. A little more information, please. Josh, welcome to the show. I forgot to hit my hello all. Let me get this. Been a busy week. Kind of laid down with the dogs today and I didn't really sleep, but I just kind of relaxed. All right, parabuilding. Carlos Alfonso. David Lee. Wow, everybody's coming on quick. Mr. Action 1 is here. Great. I kind of like these live streams. I like the interaction. I was looking at a couple of these. Hey, Greg Steinberg. I was thinking about, they've got a lot of these web meeting things we can do now. I got to figure out if any of them cost, but maybe that's an option we can do for the members. YouTube needs to kind of figure that out. That'd be another membership option. That'd be kind of neat. So I was reading some news over the last couple of days. Did you guys hear about the, let me see if we can find that real quick. I think it was on shtfplan.com. We had an asteroid that came within 1,800 miles of the Earth. That's like the closest one that I've heard of in a long time. Yeah, 1,830 miles. They didn't see this till 6 hours before it got close to the Earth because it came from the sun. They don't have a real easy way to see that, but this thing was huge. So that was an asteroid. You know, some of these things, if they were to hit like off the eastern coast, you'd have 200-foot tidal waves that would just like wash right over like New York and everything else. It'd be horrible. I'm hearing more and more of these kind of things. Have you guys heard any? So that was an interesting story. NASA says they're working on a new satellite that they're going to put up somewhere around 2025 that try to plug that gap where things are coming from the sun, where they'll get a little bit more notification. 6 hours doesn't allow you to do anything. Greg Steinberg is in the house. DW. Brad and An Akuma. Excuse me. I should have got my water. Yeah, I keep reading stories that we're going through a noisy part of the universe as our solar system moves through, and that we may see more stuff like that. So 6 hours notice doesn't help you for anything. We'd probably be lucky if it hit in the water instead of in the middle of the country somewhere. Can you imagine if it hit like over by Yellowstone? It might set off a super volcano if it hit there. What was the other thing? There was a couple really cool articles I found. I usually make a list. I didn't make a list this time. So I saw something about, here's a professor that's suggesting they should add psychoactive drugs to the water to keep people docile. That sounds really good, doesn't it? And then we had Virginia plans mandatory COVID-19 vaccinations for all residents. How do you think that's going to go over? They're trying to get a vaccine that lasts 6 months, which means you'll have to get the shot twice a year. Yeah, just what I want, more shots. I haven't even got the flu shot in years now because it's so worthless. Oh, I probably shouldn't have said that. Demonetized right away. Michelle Simcoe, John D. Yeah, Elon, he's going to save us. He's going to get, he'll probably take 10 people to Mars with him. What was the other thing? This was an interesting article. The New York City movers. They can't keep up with the number of people moving out of the city. As soon as they opened up the city where people could start moving around, everybody just started bailing. They called the moving companies, loaded up, and they got the heck out of town. So this is, they now can't keep up. And, a lot of the movers themselves, the individuals, working for the moving companies, they're, doing sick outs and everything. And so they're just not able to keep up with the amount of work. That kind of gives an idea of how these cities are kind of emptying out. And this Governor Cuomo, he's talking about ending outdoor eateries now, which, he's just trying to kill his restaurants completely. Doesn't make sense. So what have you guys been up to? It looks like some of these cities, excuse me, they're just not going to let the businesses have any chance to survive at all. Makes you wonder what the heck is going on. Let's see, after the election. I don't know. Think about the metals are doing really well with Trump in office. He's kind of like what do you call it? He likes gold. He likes silver. He's going to be one that's going to support real money, not fiat currency. I'm telling you, we're on a 10-year plan for these metals. They're just, you're going to see some periods of time, just like we saw last year, where it slumped for several months. But I mean, it never went down significantly. It just kind of ran sideways. And then all of a sudden, we're off to the races again. So just hang in there. Potentially 10 to 18 times return just on the physical metals. That's what happened in the 70s. It was like 17 to 18 times, but who knows? Right now, we've already gone up. We're approaching the first, doubling. It's kind of amazing when you think about it. We were at 1,200 when we first started talking about it for gold, and that has now we've hit about 2,000. We're just under 2,000 right now. Yeah, there's quite a few people eating out here. I still go to the ones that don't have nearly as many people. I'm trying to keep up here in my more rural area. Yeah, food from land and sea is good stuff. As long as you don't get a 200-foot tidal wave heading your way, Christopher K. That was almost a poem just then. Yeah, there's going to be a reckoning on this whole COVID-19 stuff. Even though Carlos was talking about the medals, I still think something's going to happen with the medias because there is no trust in the media itself. So I actually thought that was a valid question the way he did it. I think we're going to have to see a complete revamping of our media. And I've been taking this one drug the doctor gave me, but it's having a severe side effect where I wake up at like 3 o'clock in the morning every night. It's so frustrating, and it's hard to get back to sleep. I may have to stop taking it. I finally looked it up to see if that was the drug that was causing it. I go, yeah, sometimes you have trouble falling asleep, and then other times you can't stay asleep, and that's the problem I'm having. I've been on it about a month, and I'm going to have to potentially start getting off of that because that's a horrible thing, getting interrupted sleep. Well, I'm about 1,200 foot above sea level, and I forget how many miles away from the coastline. It would be kind of interesting if you had a 200-foot tidal wave. I mean, that would wash probably all the way across Florida. There wouldn't be anything left to just wipe it clean. Florida would become a sandbar again. So look, when Fukushima happened and also Indonesia, do you remember there was like 250,000 people died in Indonesia? I forget what year that was. I was like, I got to get out of Florida because Florida, probably the highest part in Florida, on the center area down there is probably only like 50, 60 feet above sea level. So go back and watch what happened there's some fantastic videos of Fukushima. They had cameras everywhere. Luckily, that particular country had a lot of mountains and people were able to escape up higher. But in Florida, you got nothing. You got nothing. Indonesia, same thing. There were some people that were able to get up in the hills. That always scared the crap out of me. Yeah, I know that Miami area, that's really low. They get high tide problems, flooding all the time. Oh, that was another thing I forgot to mention. We have a very unusual thing that's going to happen. Is it this week? They have two storms that are coming together right in the Gulf of Mexico that are potentially going to interact, and that's something that has not happened in a lot. I can't remember the article. I read it the other day, how long it's been, but they had a unique name for it. But you're going to have to keep an eye on that because that could create like a monster storm if they come together, but they'll kind of like rattle and bang around and then eventually combine. So that's going to be really interesting. Again, that hadn't happened in decades. 58 feet. Okay. I knew it was short. It was kind of like over by Lake Wales or something is what I remembered was the highest point. Yeah, we had problems in St. Petersburg area, Shore Acres, where there would be high tides, but you'd also have a wind blowing from the west, blowing water into Tampa Bay, and you'd end up with an unusually high tide. And they always flooded. It was the most amazing thing. It's like, why would you live there? Those guys, it seemed like about every 4 years were redoing their carpets and stuff, pulling them all out. I lived at like 8 to 10 feet above sea level in Florida, and we never flooded. Our street flooded quite often. Yeah, man, I had all kinds of fishing shirts when I worked. That was kind of what everybody knew me from. So I tried to collect nautical and just all kinds of fish. And um, this shirt's actually getting kind of ratty, but I like it. It's actually a lighter shirt, so that's one of the reasons why I wear it a lot of times. Oh man, that rioting stuff is bad news, though. I mean, you think about it, a lot of those businesses are like, the heck with you, we're out of here. And a lot of people that live there are saying the same thing, the heck with you, we're out of here. I saw one of the rioters in Portland, I think the other day, was saying, hey, people were complaining about, them going after, people's homes and stuff, and they told them to get over it. It's like, see, we're going to have to just like start laying some of these people out. We don't have a shortage of people. And so if there's just scumbags like that, they just need to be eliminated. Can't have anarchy. All right, 28 people, only 5 thumbs up. Well, 6. Yeah, I think we got some interesting stuff still happening this year. Apparently, Biden did not get a bounce from the DNC convention, which is kind of unusual normally. So I don't think anybody even watched it. I don't know what the Republicans are going to do. They're probably just going to show video over and over to all the rioting in the Democratic cities. That's probably what their whole convention will be. Say, hey, do you want this, or do you want, what's happening in these other states? I was listening to Ben Shapiro today. He did a good job. He kind of tore apart Barack Obama's speech. Well, we're talking about in the middle of the state down there, not at the upper level when you move up towards the Georgia, Alabama line and stuff, but towards the bottom part. We'll say the central part of Florida. There really isn't any significant height there at all. Highest elevation in Lake Wales, Florida.
1,780.
Oh. Wow, this Lake Wales is 1,780 feet. I didn't think it was that high. Most of the stuff is around 300 feet, it looks like. Huh. Actually, it says the highest points here are Britton Hills, 345 feet. That's northern Florida highlands. You kind of got to ignore that. Lake Wales is 312 feet. I wonder why that thing said 1,700. All right, so about 300 feet is about the highest part towards the middle of the state there. There was a cool place over there in Lake Wales. Bok Tower, exactly. I was going to say that. That's amazing gardens and listening to the bells that they have there. I love that place. Yeah, somebody told me the other day if you're doing a thumbs up trying on like the Apple stuff, you have to kind of exit, do the thumbs up, and then come back in. That's what I remembered. I think it was last week somebody said. We actually do have some high spots, where it's kind of funny, over on the East Coast, they've built these mountains of garbage that you could climb up on. I don't know how high those things are, but again, you're going to be right next to the coastline. They're not that far from the coastline. Yep, 100 feet. There's a sand ridgeline or something they talked about on Wikipedia that runs kind of the middle of the state there. But I tell you, like I said, I was in St. Petersburg and I was 8 to 10 feet above sea level. And there were times the tide was so high and we get a super rain and the water couldn't go down the drains. So it would just sit there halfway up our yards. We never flooded, but it's like, man, if we get any more rain, it's going to be bad news. None is here. Yeah, like I said, if you go back and look up. Oh, I forgot to tell you about that. Even though I talked about Fukushima and I also talked about Indonesia, if you just Google, I'm trying to remember what the name of, what's the city where they do all the biker stuff every year in Florida? Anyways, if you go back and look up, there's a newspaper article where they had a rogue wave. I'm going to pick a number, say 10-foot rogue wave. And this thing washed right into that town and washed, cars down the street. It went into like these bars and all kinds of stuff. Daytona, thank you. So anyways, they never could explain what caused that, but more than likely it could have been, something like a small meteor or something that caused that. But that was only like a 6 or 10-foot wave. Imagine what happens if you get a 200-foot wave. But it caused a ruckus, and everybody's like, what the heck? Where did that come from? Yeah, 29 feet's good, man. That's like almost 3 times what I was. Yeah, I was just Googling all the like little tsunamis and stuff that had happened just to see how risky it was. There's even something like in the Gulf of Mexico where you could have a slide that's in the deeper part, and that could cause a wave. But the bigger problems are like these asteroids and stuff could be tremendous damage. And the Earth is 75% water, so the odds are it's going to hit water. It'd be my odds that I'm 1,200 feet above sea level and it ends up hitting me. GP 100 is in the house. Yeah, Carlos, you're right. There was an island over there that could be a big slide that comes off. Some of those islands are volcanic. They were created, so they're kind of coming from deep water, and so if part of that wall slides off, it could create a big tidal wave that race across the ocean. They're pretty fast too. That was the other thing most people don't realize. And then supposedly Russia developed these nuclear bombs that kind of burrow off the coast of like our major ports, and they can set those off and create they call them like a tsunami bomb. So same thing, they could destroy all of our ports immediately, completely wreck our economy. Yeah, Trump signs. That's a good way to get your vehicle vandalized and your house trashed. I'll have to put my signs way up in the tree, way up high where they can't get to them. I'm kind of in the street, so it wouldn't really be much advertising. I need to go put it. The best thing to do is buy the signs and go put in your liberal friends' yards. Get bumper stickers, put it on their cars. I heard that they were doing that in some of the riding areas. They were putting it on the riders' cars, and then the other riders were destroying their cars. Oh, paintballs, that would be awesome. They need the pepper balls. Those are even better. Yeah, some of those paintball guns, they shoot pretty dang hard. You wouldn't want to get shot unless you had protective covering on. That hurt. Yeah, we take down the grid for any length of time. I mean, I've heard numbers. If you were to like do one of those EMP right over the center of the country, like 100 miles up or something, you basically would lose 60% of the population in just a few months. Oh, there you go. DW figured it out. It's another fine day. Dang, that thing's loud. Somebody's trying to get a date. Okay, so Carlos, let me tell you about so many people are worried about like modern vehicles and all the computers and everything in them, whether they would be affected by EMP. Truthfully, because of the EMI protection that's required so that other strong signals can't affect the car, they're actually very well protected. You don't necessarily need to go buy like a 1960s or 70s vehicle that has points or whatever. Um, the new vehicles actually survive very high radiation doses. Now, if you get warning that something is coming, the best thing to do is disconnect the battery cables, because if power's off, you'll actually survive even a much higher dose rate. And you can kind of discharge the battery cables so that it drains any charge out. But normally you want to do it with a resistor of some kind. You don't want to just short it like to the chassis or something. You could damage something. But disconnect the battery. Things with power off will survive at a much higher rate. Now, I did buy, and I've shown you guys this, I did buy that 1990 police vehicle that just has points. It's just basically a lawnmower engine in this thing, and it gets like 50 miles a gallon. And I also have a trail bike that I bought. Same thing. Um, they don't go real fast, maybe like 30 miles an hour or something, but the one, it has like a truck bed on it, which is kind of cool. So if you have the means to kind of get simple things like that, gas may be very scarce, so you don't want to be driving like my Ford F-150 that gets 18 miles a gallon or something. You're probably not going to be going a long ways anyways. So you can get something that gets you something quick. Edgewater heating. Where will everyone with crypto be? Yeah, the crypto is a problem. They'll have to wait till 10 years later when power and everything starts coming back. So the interesting thing about a diesel, I saw a show one time, on all of these power poles, they have those transformers that are like that round and that tall. This guy had a tractor and he said, "Hey, watch this." There was some abandoned power poles that had those cans up there, and he would shoot into the bottom of it and then put a bucket and catch the oil. And he said, this stuff actually works in these diesel tractors. So I don't know how much was in each one of those, but he showed that, for some period of time, he could still get his tractors running. Oh, okay. I had I actually did it on the community tab. I got stitches here and went to the doctor the other day, and this is actually healing up very nicely. So I'm hoping that middle of next week I'll be able to be back doing my videos because it's healed like 2/3 of the way, starting from up here going down, but towards the bottom of the finger, it's not quite healed yet. And so I've taped my fingers together because when you go grab things, my fingers were spreading apart and kept splitting open, where it was healing. So this is the only way I've been able to get the thing to heal is by kind of keeping it taped together and there's this bactracin I've been putting on there, and that seems to have solved the trouble. But I was banging a metal fence post into the ground, and I kind of, with the sledgehammer, kind of hit it sideways, and I don't know why I didn't get here. I'm surprised it didn't happen here, but it ended up right between these two fingers, and yowzer, that hurt. Yeah, if that Three Gorges Dam goes down, look out, folks. That is going to be trouble. 300 million people downstream is what I understand. Excuse me. That's a huge amount of people. Yeah, that reminds me, I haven't eaten any. I was trying to eat every day at least one. What do they call it? Navel orange. And now the nectarines are in now. So I've been eating some nectarines. I love the nectarines. Well, thank you. I'm down like 40 pounds. I still have, I'm going to say eight to 10 pounds I'd like to get. Then I'll be right, let's say 3/4 to the top of the proper BMI level. So, Christopher, you need to explain where that is. Where is this Del Monte that's got hundreds of acres? I don't know what a Bojack soil is either. So, warning signs, you are correct. This is the time to really kind of get not only your house in order, but your mental house in order, because I talked about this last year. We have a number of things that are going to be coming one after the other. You're not going to have time to recover, and I didn't know what all the things were. I told you that cities were going to burn, and they're burning. I didn't know that they were going to use this pandemic. So as cover probably for our currency reset. I knew the currency reset was coming. I knew we were going to be losing a lot of jobs because this is the end of the business cycle. So they're doing all of this simultaneously. But we also have very high probability of grand solar minimum. So your food problems, everything else, even the face mask. I'm glad you brought the word up PSYOP because I probably would have had a hard time remembering that. The face masks are intentional so that you can't see people smiling. All of these things are tied together, that they're trying to really screw with you mentally. So I begged you last year to get out of the big cities because you're much less affected. I'm growing so much stinking food out here, it's beyond my capability of using it. So I'm going to be cooking 2 batches of eggplant parmesan tomorrow because I've got like 7 gallons of freaking eggplant that I got to use up. And man, is it good. Oh, Sandy Loan. All right, but where are these farms at, Christopher? You didn't tell us where it was. I'm curious where they're selling this land. Yeah, the LIBOR's coming up too. You're right. I don't know. Did I talk about this recently? I can't remember what I've talked about, but some of my friends are telling me that all of their dry cleaners have kind of gone out of business because people are working from home and they can't support the business. So that's another unintended consequence. Yeah, I've wanted to get one of those freeze dryers, but doggone, those things are thousands of dollars. Problem is, if gold goes up to 10,000, then the price of that thing's going to go up too. We just hope that gold gets ahead of it. Who knows? I was thinking the other day, if gold gets up enough, maybe I'll go buy that Mustang I had that I had to give up. I loved having my Mustang, but in the coming times, you're going to probably want to have things that are less conspicuous. You don't want to be standing out. There's a channel I used to watch. It's called Gray Man or something, Sovereign Man. And he talks about you're going to have to start thinking about, like maybe putting mud all over your trucks if you have a nice truck to make it not look so nice, because, we're going to be in potentially an unbelievable depression, and you're not going to want to be a target. I thought the freeze dryers were like $3,500. I don't remember. I know there's these actual things that just have a heating element. They're not really a freeze dryer that I've done for beef jerky and stuff, but they're not the actual freeze dryers. Those freeze dryers, I looked at them once. They were pretty stinking expensive. I don't know. Since I have solar, that might be kind of cool to have an electric Mustang, but right now, we probably just need to put our heads in our, think of the turtle, right? You got to pull into your shell. OatMMC showed up just in time. I should try doing some of those sprouting trays to see what it's like, but I'm not I've enjoyed the zucchini. I've enjoyed the squash that I grew. I enjoyed the eggplant. But, like salads, I'll have a little salad on the side, but I just don't know about this sprout stuff. I put a little bit of sprouts on my salad, but just to eat sprouts, it's just not that good to me. Yeah, man, I got my platinum. Yeah, so that's what I remembered. It was $2,000 to $3,000 for those freeze dryers. I don't know how long it takes too versus doing these like the beef jerky thing that I have. Yeah, I do the eggplant parmesan. I bought all of the ingredients today, and I'm going to try to do a double batch tomorrow because I have so much eggplant. I found a website that has 10 different recipes, and I'd actually heard of some of these names before, but I didn't even know it was eggplant. I wish I'd have brought that up because that was, I don't know how many of you guys, let's see if I can find that real quick. Well, this one has 26 recipes. The one I saw earlier was 10. From pasta to pizza to eggplant fries. I hadn't thought about that. So eggplant parmesan's the first one everybody knows about. Have you guys ever had sweet potato fries? That's not something you see that often, but I love sweet potato fries. I absolutely love it. Yeah, there's only one thing that I've been taking. It's an SSRI, and the one girl that I'm dating, she doesn't like it that I'm taking it, but it was before I'd started all of my fasting and meditation, and I think I'd already pretty much solved my trouble, but I didn't want to have like a relapse. But the problem with the SSRIs is they take like 6 weeks to become effective, because initially when you start taking it, your body's reacting. And so there's like this tug of war that's happening. And then eventually it kind of levels off and starts working. But the problem I've been having is regularly I will go to bed even at, let's say, 10 o'clock, and I wake up at 3 o'clock, like wide awake. And it pisses me off because that's not a good night's sleep, only having 5 hours sleep. So then, I kind of will read the news, do stuff. And, after an hour or two, I can kind of go back to sleep, but then it's time for the dogs to get up. It's like, oh crap. So I got to feed the dogs, let them out, and then try to lay back down for a couple more hours. Well, that's just, you don't go through the proper, 3 or 4 cycles you go through REM and everything else when that happens. Yeah, the SSRI, they told me to just, by the way, I took the lowest dose because I told them I don't take drugs. So, give me the lowest dose. So we did. So they said, just start doing it every other day. And then what I'll do is, over a month, I'll just get back off of it, because it's just, I can't live with just, 5 hours of sleep. Yeah, my girlfriend doesn't like having my brain screwed up, because you're basically doing something to your brain, which is not a good idea. I have, over the years, taken like Benadryl. I've taken the, what's that, serotonin. And the problem I have with those things is when you take them like more than a couple weeks, I start getting joint pain. And that's one of the side effects that I didn't realize. I was like, why are my dang hips like killing me and stuff? So I ended up having to get off of that stuff. Yeah, the biggest thing I've got to do, and it's just hot right now, it's just unbelievably hot. I need to get out and walk each night. And another thing that helps is if you go take a hot shower, like about 8 o'clock, then what happens is you're forcing your body into that cool down period. So you're raising it up. And then when your body naturally cools down, that puts you into the sleep mode. And I haven't done that in a while, so I need to potentially do that, because that really helps. If you're a woman, take the bath, because you're completely immersing yourself. And that will, it's like, it takes like an hour or so after you've taken the bath that you will, you'll get your proper sleep. So that's what I'm going to do. Yeah, we don't have legal weed in Florida. And I don't really like drugs. I don't take drugs. I thought about drinking a glass of wine every night, but it's like, that's still like self-medicating. I need to get out where I'm just working. The days that I work really hard outside, I seem to sleep well. So, part of what happens, and I noticed this at work, you'd be mentally tired, but not physically tired. You need both to be able to sleep properly. Yeah, baked sweet potato fries are really good. I'm going to have to try these eggplant fries, see what they taste like. I got to come up with all kinds of recipes. Maybe I'll do like 3 different things, but I'll tell you that eggplant Parmesan, what's really nice about that is you're making like, I call it like pancake stacks. They're about, that wide and about that tall. And I just stick it in the fridge, and I can take one out, put it on a plate. It's all you need to eat. And you just warm it up in the microwave. It doesn't spit or anything like spaghetti and stuff does. Oh my God, that's the most amazing thing. I love it. And you're just eating vegetables. You don't realize it, but it's just vegetables. It tastes like lasagna. It's so good. Yeah, I love the Southern candy yams. That's more like a dessert. It's unbelievable. I used to have an aunt that made that. She passed away. I wish I had her recipe, because that was unbelievable. Yeah, I don't have an air fryer. What you can do is, I think Ore-Ida has these, in fact, you can get it gluten-free, both their French fries and the sweet potato fries. So that'll be good. I just eat them with ketchup just like you do regular fries. It's amazing. I went on a date the other day and a girl had never had a root beer float. I was like, what? You are fine just the way you are. Inositol. I don't know what that is. Yeah, I've got no anxiety anymore. They were just concerned with still recovering from this divorce stuff. They said, you're better off just kind of wait till all this stuff settles out and you'll be fine. Yeah, the actual approach I'm using for dating, I'm very happy. It seems to be working really well. I got to start coming up with dates 4, 5, and 6 now because I've got another one coming up on date 3 tomorrow, and I haven't figured out dates 4, 5, and 6 yet. Might be some fun stuff in between now. So is Insatrol a prescription, or is that something you get over the counter? I'd never heard of it. Oh, iron beer. I hadn't heard of that. I can't talk too much about the dates because unfortunately a couple of them asked me about my YouTube channel, so they're watching this now and I'm getting comments. So I may have to put that behind the paywall. Oh, kosher vitamins. Okay, well, I'm going to go look at that. I'm kind of curious if that's going to have the same buildup effect where I get joint pain or not. Let me write that down while we're here. Insatrol. I bet you they have that at GNC and others too, right? I am going to do a video for you guys because I know it's 98% guys on here where I'm going to talk about my experience, and so you're aware. And if you really want to, I'm retired, so I did a little bit of hardcore of really attacking this problem. Not everybody has the same amount of time, but it's if you really want to do it right, it's kind of working. But it's you're gonna have to tell me if I told you guys this. I figured out it's a lot like fishing. I know they're watching, but I'm gonna explain my methodology for this simple analogy, and I actually explained it to a couple of them already. If you're an amateur fisherman, you're gonna maybe just sit on the side of a lake and just throw out in there and just hope something comes and finds your bait. When you get a little more advanced, you're going to use a lure and you're going to kind of go all around the lake, maybe walking around, and then down the road, you might be able to get a boat and even, find other things. And you learn about the tides and everything else, right? So what I found is when I was fishing in Florida, you're way more productive if you go looking for the fish and you become much more familiar. So I would use the lures and I'd go all around the docks. And what would happen is, you would catch a lot of different kinds of fish, not all keepers, but you were constantly catching fish and you were learning where some of it, every once in a while you'd find a honey hole and you'd get a lot of different things. But it seemed like I always came home with something that I called a keeper. So, but you might catch, some smaller sheep's head, some smaller pinfish, other things, ladyfish. Okay, the ladies aren't going to like this. But I'll tell you why they call them ladyfish. Ladyfish are a hell of a lot fun to catch, but they're not worth a damn when you catch them. They're like this bony, stinky fish. You can't eat it or anything, but that's what they call it. But anyways, that's a guy joke. I'll hear about that later. But anyways, every once in a while, like about every third trip, I would hook. We called it a bucket mouth. like snook. Unbelievable. The mouth would open up and it'd be like shaking. You know, if you ever seen a tarpon, that's what snook do too. And a lot of times they'd just run right up underneath the dock, and you couldn't even turn their head because they were just so big. Some of these things could be 30 pounds, right? And so to me, that was like the whole trip. You had a heart attack. It was like the best part of the whole trip, and you didn't bring it home or anything, but it's like, oh man, I had that thing for a microsecond. It was just a blast watching. But occasionally you'll actually catch it and it'll be a trophy fish. And so you get pictures and everything. And to me, that's ultimately what we're trying to do, but it's going to take work. You're going to be out there for hours, you know, doing this. And if you want to be successful, that's the way it is. And you're going to be taking a lot of time, you know, texting the women. You're going to be, you know, talking to them on the phone. You're going to be, and some of them, you know, they're just going to fall out from that because it didn't work out. And then you're going to get to first dates and they're not going to be, you know, what they said they were. Anyways, the whole thing is, by the way, they throw me back too. It's not just me throwing them back. You got to understand. So DW, you got to realize this is both ways. We're all part of this. We both make a decision whether we're going to keep going or not. But a lot of them, they're just we're not compatible. We're not all the same, right? So, but the idea is you're chasing them, trying to do it. It doesn't happen naturally. You can't just sit on the side and hope somebody gives you a like and then you do that. Yeah, so tomorrow is my third date where we actually cook a complex meal together. So that's where we're kind of testing compatibility. We actually go shopping, get a few things together at the store, and so that's part of my my little plan. So I have that at the third date. You know, the funny thing is, I talk about this dating approach on the first date, and a lot of the women want to get to the third date. They love the idea of cooking something together. I think a lot of them are not really trained as cooks, and I've always been a good cook myself, and I like doing different things. So this happened to be a recipe that my daughter-in-law did, and I kind of watched her as she was doing. I go, wow, this actually is quite involved. Not hard, just took time. And I thought this was something that, you know, we'd learn to work together. So it's kind of a fun thing. You know, some people, I've watched these TV shows where they bring a chef in and the chef teach women, but I think this is better. Yeah, shooting range, that actually would be good too. So anyways, I'm trying to figure this out. This is Christian dating. This isn't you know, trying to get people in bed. That's not what I am. This is about I call it dating for a mate. This isn't where I'm trying to this is kind of a long drawn out thing. It's a lot of you may not be along the same lines of this thought process, but I had a couple women, they didn't quite understand what I was doing. I said, well, look, do you want to be married for 5 years or do you want to be married for 30 plus years? And he said, well, 30 plus years. I said, well, think about what I'm doing. I'm explaining you step by step. She said, okay, I'm listening. So she liked the idea after that. I mean, so many people, they're just going for looks or whatever, and they're totally not compatible and they screw up. And that's why this is, you know, and they never get through the infatuation stage, right? You know, that's part of the problem. They go, wow, you know, really good looking, and they kind of fall in love with the beauty or whatever, and not get to the real person. Yeah, get them a toolbox. That could be another thing where we got to put together some stupid thing from what's the name of that place? Oh, I can't think of it. There's this one place we had in Florida you'd go to, and everything was like in a box, so you'd have to put it all together. Yeah, Dr. Phil. IKEA, thank you. Yeah, IKEA, everything comes in a box. What a pain in the butt that is, try to put all this stuff together. You guys always know what I'm talking about. That'd be fun. I'll have to think about something we can put together. Maybe we got to do like 1,000-foot or 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle. That might be something we got to do. It'd be a black sky, something really hard. But some of what we're trying to do is see them under different conditions, right? You want to be able to tell how they behave and react under stress or whatever. Because, they probably should see you the same way. Like when I'm driving in rush hour in Atlanta, I want to just shoot myself. I hate it. Oh yeah, Monopoly. I've got all the board games too. Some of those aren't real good with just two people. I'd have to find some other folks to bring over. I thought about putting one of those porch swings up. Right now, I just got rocking chairs. Ooh, Trump puzzle. That'd be a good discriminator. I told you there's a lot of these doggone people that will put on there. They don't want to date a liberal. If you're liberal, don't try. Or the other women will say, if you're a Trump supporter, forget it. So, and people put right on there, I'm a conservative, get over it. It's like, why would you do that? It's like, I'm not trying to tick off half the people. To me, that shouldn't be a discriminator for dating. Yeah, I saw that about the boat. Send pictures of the boat. I haven't seen the internet photo of the Mennonite buggy, though, that had the Trump flag. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I'll try to find, I'm going to have to come up with something I think I'm going to do a few fun dates after date 3, because now you're kind of getting to where you've gone through some of the more serious stuff, and maybe we'll do some romantic things. Got to think about it. I have to put some thought, because that means next week we could be going to date 4 here. Really sweet woman tomorrow. All right. Well, we're just about up for an hour now. Any last requests? I'm going to get crap for that fishing thing. I know it. But like I said, they're fishing too. Don't forget, they're throwing me aside. Yeah, so far it's working out. I just am amazed. Wait till you see the video when I do it, where I talk about how many women you have to approach to even get a date. It is incredible. I'm not a bad looking guy either, and it's not like I'm trying to get, really young girls. It's just like this. I think the majority of these profiles are dead profiles. I believe that they're people that aren't even on the site anymore, and they just left them up. And so it's kind of, you're wasting your time. They may have, dates already or something. I don't know, but you never get a response from probably 80%. Not even a, hey, thanks for stopping by. I try to do that for most of them. Oh yeah, I'm going to talk about that too. I'm really good. I got a good eye for the fake ones now. So I'll tell you the secret on the fake ones. When they ask, so a lot of use Hangouts is what a lot of them want you to go to. So you give them your Gmail account, they invite you to Hangouts, and then what you do is keep their profile open. And you'll notice the fake ones, as soon as they hook you, they delete their profile. And so then I go back and said, okay, just notice your delete your profile, goodbye. And they're like, what? Why'd you leave? And because that's when you know it's the fake ones. Yeah, webcam shows. Yep, a lot of this stuff is a totally different world. But I've now I've gotten a little more savvy, and it's working out. I made a lot of friends, not necessarily girlfriends completely yet, but still fishing. Surprisingly, you may end up setting 5 dates up, and by the end of the week, not one of them worked out. And so you thought, wow, 5, this ought to be really good odds. It doesn't work that way. You won't believe it the way it works. It's not what you think. So, as soon as I've kind of got the 5 on the docket, you're looking for the next 5 because it takes time. You have to keep fishing. Because like I said, they dump you too. God, some of these calls, they just, they misinterpret what you're saying. They get mad. I'm like, well, okay, that's actually important to get that out of the way before you've invested too much time. I'm the most easygoing guy too, but man, I still tick off some of these women. Oh, so I'll tell you one little story. So I had actually wrote about the fishing thing to this one lady because she was getting frustrated with the dating stuff, and so I was trying to counsel her a little bit. And I said, it's all about trying to find long-term relationship material. And she wrote back and says, I can't believe you're talking about women as material. And I said, that's a very common terminology. We're trying to, and so I just did a quick Google search and I came up from Psychology Today that talked about, are you long-term relationship material? And I sent it back to her. I said, maybe you ought to be a little more well-read. Well, she never talked to me after I did that, but it's like they're so sensitive as to whether you're going to compliment them or complete them. And I actually looked up the definitions for the verb of those 2 words. And I said, you're saying you don't like the complete, but you like the complimenting, and they're both exactly the same definition for the verb. So they don't like that either. Don't use logic with them. They don't want to hear it. They want to believe they're right, but it's so funny. I get a kick out of it. It's like I'm very precise with my language, and I look through this stuff and I try to help them, but they don't want to be helped. So that's part of it. You got to spend time because you want to filter out stuff. You don't want to date crazy. Don't date crazy. Not any more crazier than you are. That's a number 1 rule. And look out for the eyes. I look at these some of these profiles, and you can see they kind of got crazy eyes. I don't touch that. And I also don't even go after any of them that don't smile. I put that in there. I said, if you're not smiling, I'm not going to talk to you because I want happy people. All right. Well, we hit an hour. I talked way too much about the dating. That's going to cause me troubles, I can guarantee you. I got one realtor. She says she's regularly watching my shows, so I'll probably get crap for this. I can't wait to hear it. Yeah, actually, I went to a different place this time. This place actually has these massage chairs. I didn't pay for the full package, but they have the massage chairs and all this stuff. I may do that next time. It's meant to be, yeah, delete the video. It's meant to be a guy place where you can go in there and spend a couple hours if you want to. And I may end up trying that next time because that sounds kind of cool. You kind of do the massage chair, and then they give you a haircut, then they wash your hair and everything so you don't have all the hair pieces in you. And so it really wasn't that much more for the super cut thing. So I thought, well, maybe I'll try that next time. Yeah, leave no evidence. Yeah, so I don't know if you've noticed, I've not been keeping all these videos up for any length of time. I want to try to keep the website kind of cleaned up now, or the YouTube channel. So we end up having not 800 videos like I had last time. It took me a long time to clean out all those old videos. So I'm probably only going to keep you know, a month's worth of videos on stuff. All right. I think that's it. I hope everybody's treating you well. I hope you're doing well. Do the best you can. God bless.